Hey, what is going on, guys? VideoJames, and today I'm going to be doing another review. I don't know why I couldn't speak there for a minute, but I'm going to be doing another review today, and it's actually going to be a two-thing review. It's going to be a review on the first Transformers movie, and the newest one, Age of Extinction. And since these are, in my opinion, the best and worst in that order, because as you watch the Transformers movies, if you watch them all in progressive sequence, in like a marathon all day, you'll realize that as they go on, they get a little bit worse. And it also seems like the longer that they are, the worse they'll get. Because, like, the first movie was 1 minute 43 minutes, or 143 minutes. I don't know why I thought it was minute. The second movie was 1 minute, or, 149 minutes. I cannot English today. And the first one was a little better than the second one, but the second one was inarguably the second best. And then you see Dark of the Moon is 154 minutes, but that, in my opinion, is the third worst one, although some people will think it outranks Revenge of the Fallen, which I think it could have done if they would have gotten rid of a few things, but in my opinion, Revenge of the Fallen still beats Dark of the Moon. And as I said before, the worst one, 164 minutes. And if they would have taken out all the unnecessary scenes in this, which I'll get to later, it could have made the movie a whole lot shorter. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get onto reviewing this one, the first one. So, what happens in this movie is, I have ink on my hands, don't know where that came from, is a young boy named Sam Witwicky finds the key to saving the human race and an alien race known as the Transformers after the one greatest Decepticon known as Megatron finally is found, awakens, and tries to destroy humanity with the Allspark. Now, that's all I can really say without giving away too much of the plot, but as the story goes on, you'll see more and more of the Transformers, but in the beginning, there are very little parts that include Transformers, and that's why I think that this movie kind of started out the path right, because they didn't immediately introduce the aliens. Like, they didn't immediately say where they came from, how they existed, and it just started out with simple backstory to the human characters, backstory to what the Decepticons were doing, what they were looking for, backstory to who Sam was, how he found the Autobots. So, in my opinion, Transformers 1 is inarguably the best. You can't beat this one. I've found myself sitting down for hours at a time with this movie, just sitting down, snuggling up in blankets, eating popcorn, watching this movie, and I cannot think of a single movie that has topped the Transformer series except for Star Wars, which I believe is one of the best movie franchises ever. Until Disney got their mitts on it. Once Disney got a hold of Star Wars, it was basically downhill. It's like when Google got a hold of YouTube. It just made it a little bit worse. But Disney's done a pretty good job of keeping Star Wars at hand, but anyway, let's get back to Star Wars, or Transformers. The movie in its entirety is 143 minutes long, which in my opinion is a good length for these movies, because it keeps it short for their type. These kind of movies are usually about 2.5 hours, 2 hours 45 minutes. And in my opinion, that's the perfect length for these movies, because if you try and make them longer, you kind of have to put in unnecessary scenes like they did in the fourth one, which basically just ruin the whole movie. If you put unnecessary scenes in something, it basically just ruins the immersion, ruins the whole point, and it makes something that you watch something that you wish you hadn't watched. But anyway, if I were to give this movie a rating for Transformers, I'd probably say this one would get 5 stars out of 5. This one is inarguably one of the best movies that I have ever seen. Nothing I've seen has topped this movie. Alright. Now I'm going to move on to the worst Transformers movie. As I said, I'm only going to be reviewing those two, which would be Age of Extinction. And that's basically the title to the franchise, because this movie basically begun the Age of Extinction for the Transformers series. I don't know what they were thinking when they made this, but obviously they were thinking more human scenes, less Transformer scenes, and less connected plots. I mean, the storyline for this is just all over the place. It makes no sense. But anyway, in this one, after the Chicago War in the third movie, which I'll do a little bit of a story on when I get to that review, it's been 3 years after the Chicago War, and the alliance between the military and the Autobots immediately after the war was disbanded, so the Autobots and the humans weren't around working together anymore. But not only that, the government was hunting down Autobots and Decepticons and trying to get them off of Earth. They didn't want them around anymore. And a handful of Autobots actually managed to get away, including Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and actually Optimus and Bumblebee were the only two from the first movies that actually stayed around. They didn't keep any of the other Transformers. I mean, you did see Ratchet in the beginning of the movie, but it didn't really help. It only had him for a brief 3 minutes, and it wasn't even that good to even be there. But anyway, after the war, the government's hunting down Autobots, like I said, but an inventor named Cade Yeager actually finds one of the Autobots, I'm not going to say who he finds, and tries to hide him from the government and help him get fixed because he is completely damaged from a fight he had with the Human Alliance that's hunting down the Autobots and Decepticons. And they end up teaming up with the rest of the Autobots, which they find later in the movie, in order to stop the humans that are currently hunting down Autobots and Decepticons, which ends up revealing a much bigger plot involving I don't want to say Autobot or Decepticon, because I'm not really sure entirely who he is, because in the beginning of the movie he said he hates both Autobots and Decepticons, but it is clear that he is a Cybertronian. He is a Transformer. And he is hunting down Prime. He's looking for Optimus Prime, and once he has Prime, he promised to give the Alliance that's hunting down the Autobots a certain artifact that is essentially doom for the entire Earth. Now, I don't know what they were thinking with this movie, like I said before, but they could have gotten rid of a lot of scenes and moved a lot of things around better than what they did, because if they would have taken out all the unnecessary scenes in this movie, which are like 15 that I can think of off the top of my head, this movie would have only been about 2 hours long, if even, because the unnecessary scenes were mostly the longest ones. They weren't even worth putting in the effort to make. And not only that, but you have a whole bunch of unnecessary characters that don't even show up anywhere else in the movie except for one point. And it's basically not even helpful to the plot. It doesn't even do anything. And some of the scenes, they could have definitely moved around a little bit more, because the way they were interconnected just didn't work. Some of the scenes could have definitely been in better places than where they were, because you had it going from one set of characters to the next to the third set of characters, and there was just no connection between any of the scenes. You couldn't get any sort of feed off the scenes into the plot. And if I were having to give this movie a rating, which I honestly would go very low, because this movie just didn't even do that well in theaters. It wasn't even that good. I kind of actually regret watching it in theaters and actually getting it, because the plot is just terrible. I mean, they could have done so much better. Hopefully in the fifth one they actually will do better. But if I had to give this one a rating, I'd probably say 2 stars out of 5. Would watch again only for a few times. But I wouldn't recommend getting this movie just because this one is inarguably the worst out of them. If you were to want to get a Transformers movie, go for the second or third one. Or, not second or third one. First or second one. Because those two were the best. This one basically started the plummet of the franchise. It didn't even work. But anyway, I'll leave links down to where you can get both of them in the description in case you do want to buy them, because for me, they're still Transformers movies. I still wanted to watch them. I still liked them. The fourth one was just not worth the amount that they were putting it on for. But anyway, that's my review for Transformers and Transformers Age of Extinction, and I thought it would be better to do a 2-movie review because it's a series, so reviewing all 4 of the movies isn't really going to do anything, and if I try and review all 4 of them in one video, that'd probably be too much, and not only would I probably get lost, you guys would probably get lost. So I decided I would just watch the first one and the 4th one before I recorded this video to see basically what happened so I can remember what goes on. And basically I decided to just review the first best one and the first worst one. And like I said, going in descending order from the first one, it goes best, second best, third best, worst. Because I don't think they actually put that much effort into the 4th one. I think they could have done a lot more than what they did. But anyway, that's my review for those 2 movies, and basically the entire Transformers franchise. I'll leave links down in the description to where you can buy all the movies, and I'll probably leave links to trailers to the first movie and the last movie, so you can kind of see what goes on in the movies if you haven't seen them already. But anyway, that's my review, and if you guys like this video, as always, leave a like or comment down below, and I will see you guys later.